So this is offered in conjunction with the Singelyn Center for Innovative Analytics, which is our analytics center in the College of Business. Dr. Kohikamali is the GIS expert in our college, and we are very fortunate to have Jian Lange, who is a principal product specialist at Esri. So the main purpose for this is to introduce location intelligence with GIS, which is how to make better decisions using location data, what's the best way to monitor performance indicators, and how to make predictive analytics more effective. So we're doing this in 2 sessions today, and then 3 weeks from today. So for today, quick introduction, which I just did. And then we will have our main featured presentation by Jian Lange from Esri. We will have some time for Q&A, and then a short break, and then we will do the hands-on exercises in breakout rooms. So I know a few of you have sent messages saying you didn't receive the activation emails, so let's address that during the break. For the first hour, there is no, the hands-on part happens in the second hour. So the first hour is going to be mainly the presentation, and then we'll wrap up at the end. So first step, which was like a pre-step, was to activate the ArcGIS Online account. And then today's main session is going to feature ArcGIS Dashboards. And then the next session, which is 3 weeks from today on October 27th, will be ArcGIS Insights. So today is Introduction to GIS Dashboards, followed by a hands-on exercise to make our own GIS dashboards. And then next time will be ArcGIS Insights. So to earn the certificate, the requirement is to attend both sessions, to complete the hands-on exercises associated with both sessions, and then to share the completed work and to email us the link so we can verify that you have completed the work. So our guest presenter is Jian Lange. She's a principal product manager with Esri's product management team and responsible for various aspects of ArcGIS Spatial Analysis, including business planning, roadmaps, requirements, and management. So we're very, very fortunate that she is here to present dashboards, and the tutorial that we will be doing, the hands-on exercise that we will be doing, is actually part of a tutorial that has been authored by her. So very, very fortunate to have her with us today. So during the hands-on session, Dr. Kohikamali and Rahim and I will be helping to facilitate the hands-on sessions. And I want to end with thanks to our Dean's Office staff and our student clubs, especially MISA and the DA team and OMS for helping us get the word out and promote this event. And for all the GIS system support, Manny Anza, so the emails that everyone got to activate their accounts, he is our main GIS administrator. So with that, I will turn it over to Jian.
Let me share my screen. Thank you, Dr. Kuma. Can everyone see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. So thank you so much for having me. Good evening, everyone. Happy to be here tonight to talk about ArcGIS Dashboards. So why dashboards? For those of you who are not quite familiar with GIS dashboards, it is an intuitive and interactive way to visualize your data all on one single screen. And it uses elements like map, charts, or other easy to interpret elements to unlock hidden information in your data to simplify complex data sets. Oftentimes, we use dashboard also to monitor real-time events and things that are getting updated regularly. it's like, for example, field edits. A field crew is in the field performing edits. You might want to use the dashboard to see the updates in real time. So for this kind of dashboards, the viewers will check from time to time, and every time they check the dashboard, they expect to see updated information, like COVID cases, for example. Talking about COVID cases, dashboard has been used abundantly, to say it mildly, since the beginning of the pandemic. We probably all recognize this iconic COVID case dashboard created by Johns Hopkins University. And this dashboard receives billions of viewings every day. It is basically many local governments started to have been having for a long time, over a year now, their own similar type of COVID dashboards. In fact, just last week on Bloomberg, there's an article talking about the rise of the pandemic dashboard, and ArcGIS Dashboards had mentioned, of course, in this article. And the author of this article basically advocates that every government should have a pandemic dashboard. Another fun example I'd like to share is that I found this Twitter post from President Biden. He tweeted this on September 19th when he visited California and discussed with our state officials on the wildfire responding effort. If I were zoom in to the photo that he posted, you can see that there's an ArcGIS Dashboards, which was used, I think is still used by the state of California to monitor the wildfires in California. So now a brief overview of ArcGIS Dashboards, the product. So ArcGIS Dashboards obviously is from Esri. It's an out-of-the-box web application that is designed to focus on authoring and viewing dashboards using maps and locational data. It comes with ready-to-use elements, map for sure, and charts, different type of charts, pie charts, serial charts, indicators that can be used as counting or track percentage changes, gauges, lists, the ability to be able to show details of an item on the map, or to build embedded content from other websites. I think the real power of the ArcGIS dashboards, it's the way that it allows you to build interactivity among these elements. So if you select a feature from a list, that feature can be zoomed on the map or flashed. Or if you select a bar on the bar chart, it will filter the map or other elements on your dashboard. There are also layout and styling options using the ArcGIS dashboards. You can group different elements together. You can stack the elements on top of each other. You can fit your elements into a color scheme that is best fit for your branding or for the organization that you are representing. ArcGIS Dashboards is integrated with Esri's web GIS products. So if you're using a cloud solution, sounds like most of you will going to use it today, you can use it with ArcGIS Online. Or if you want to have an on-premise deployment, then you can use it with our server product called ArcGIS Enterprise. So building a dashboard is as easy as 1, 2, 3. One, starting with a web map. Most cases, although it's not 100%, in most cases, a dashboard start with a web map. And 2, you pick up the elements you want for your dashboard and define how they interact with each other. And then it's the layout and styling, how you want your layout of the dashboard, what color to use, which location each element should be, etc. So like learning any software, and I just personally feel the best way to learn it is to see how it works. So I'm going to use a few minutes just to show you how you can just get started with building a dashboard. So here I have a web map in ArcGIS Online. So this is ArcGIS Online, the new map viewer. And what I have on my map is a layer called California air quality data. This is the data I downloaded from EPA's AirNow website. So I downloaded the CSV file and geo-enabled it into a feature layer. So what I wanted to do is in this layer, I have information, one information particularly I'm interested in is the daily average of PM 2.5. PM stands for particulate matter. PM 2.5 is the very fine inhalable particles that can be harmful to your health. So what I want to do is to create a dashboard that can show me what's the daily average of these PM 2.5 in the situation in California. So these points are the sites that collects that information. So if I want to create a dashboard, the way to start is click here. And I can start and select dashboard, which is one of the ready to use apps. We can just go ahead and create a new one. Let's call it Kapoly demo. I will save it to my GIS Day 2021 folder. I can add a tag, test, or demo, and then I can just go ahead and create this dashboard. Now I have a new dashboard with nothing on it. So the first thing I might want to do is to decide what's the theme for my dashboard, the styling. So by default, it uses this light theme, and I personally prefer dark theme. So it's a matter of taste. So I choose the dark theme. And the first element I would like to add would be a map element. So I'll say map, and I'll just select the Kapoly workshop demo web map that we just saw. Now I have a map, and I can define, I say, hey, with this map, I want to enable pop-up. So when I click on a point on the map, I can see the information that's stored with that particular feature. I'd like to be able to go back to the default extent, show the map legend, perhaps to be able to zoom in and zoom out. So done. Now I have a dashboard with a map element. The next thing I want to add is a chart, a serial chart, which shows me that I want to see, what are the top maybe 5 or 10 sites that has the highest PM 2.5 value. So when I say add a serial chart, I will select the layer to use for the serial chart, which is the layer in my web map. So I will define the category field will be site name. And I'm going to add a series. Oh, it will be based on a feature, then site name. So let me add a series. The series would be our daily mean PM 2.5 concentration level. Again, these are all the fields that's available in my layer. By default, it shows all the sites and plots. You can see plots the daily PM 2.5 value. Since we want to see only the top 5 maybe, so I'll just choose 5. And I also want to sort it based on the PM value and sort it descending so I can see which are the top 5 that from high to low. Okay, so there we have a chart. So now our dashboard has a chart and has a map. So another thing I want to add, perhaps a list showing all the sites available on my map. So let's go ahead and add a list element. Again, we want to choose the web layer we want to use. And by default, it shows only 25. I know it's about 160 stations. I want to show them all, so I'll say 160. And then let's define what we want to do with our list, what we want to show in our list. So the default, it shows only the site name. Perhaps it would be more meaningful, not only we show the site name, also we want to show which county it's in. So we'll select the county field, which is available in our web layer. So now you can see it shows the site name and the county where it's in. And also we want to say, hey, what's the PM25 is, and then let's select that field, which is daily mean PM25 concentration, average. Okay, maybe another interesting information we want to have is there's a value called air quality index. Maybe we want to show that air quality index as well. So air quality index is, I can choose that field again from see here, daily AQI value, which is our air quality index. As you can see now, if I say then here, I have a list that shows, all the sites available in my layer, their PM25 value, as well as the air quality index value. So this doesn't look that pretty. So what I can do, one of the things we can do when you create an ArcGIS dashboard is you can here drag this item and move it around and drop it where you want it to be. So I can put this on top of my bar chart and I can make this larger so I have more space for my map. So let's define currently each of the elements act as is on its own. There's no interactivity. So let's define some interactivity. So for example, I wanted that when I zoom on the map, it actually filters my list as well as my charts. So let's here click done. Let's see if I zoom in this area, as you can see that both the list and the chart changes. Let's see, try again. So there's some interactivity going on. So as my map extent changes, the list as well as the chart are being filtered. So that is just a quick and dirty dashboard. I'm not doing too much of styling there, but I just want to give you an idea how you can just get started. That can be just a start. It's the entry to this is pretty low. I any non-expert can just, you don't need to do any coding. It's just some ideas which you want to show, and you can start design your first dashboard. Okay. So now let's talk about some design considerations or best practices for designing effective dashboards. So what makes a dashboard effective? Here are some core principles. A good dashboard grabs your attention to where it's needed. It communicates information which could be previously hidden at a glance because everything is all on one single screen. It makes it easy to spot what's most important by smartly placing different visualization widgets or by using different colors. Dashboard is a generic term. When you ask someone, what do you think is a dashboard? Typical response probably is just everything on one screen has some charts on it. Because it's such a generic term, it's hard to come with a set of best practices based on this core principles. So one approach that we can take is to classify the dashboards based on the type of data it uses, the usage, and the purpose. So from our experience, there are two types of dashboards: snapshot dashboards and monitoring dashboards. A snapshot dashboard summarizes data at a static time. So the time it represents typically is inherent in your dashboard. For example, you can have make a dashboard based on the census data, census 2020 data, or you can make a dashboard based on a study you just conducted, which I will show one later. Typically, you view a snapshot dashboard once or maybe a couple of times. And the purpose of snapshot dashboards is to inform, explain, persuade, and enable viewers to analyze the data. And they can, and they often do, tell a story. And different colors, like colors can be used in very creative ways for snapshot dashboards in order to convey the story that you're trying to tell. Monitoring dashboards, on the other hand, summarizes data that's being regularly updated. And this data can be updated every second, every hour, like earthquake data, every day, or every month. Like COVID cases data is currently updated daily. I can't wait until it's not updated so frequently anymore. So you view monitoring dashboards recurringly. So people often frequently check back, and every time they check back, they expect the data is updated, and they expect to see the most up-to-date information. And the purpose of monitoring dashboard is to inform, is to flag concerns in our air quality dashboard. Perhaps if all of a sudden there's a spike up of this PM2.5, we might want to flag that and get our viewers' attention. We can use the monitoring dashboard to evaluate performances, provide progress updates, use indicator to show, say if you want to show a project status, you might want to use the indicator show a percentage of completion. It also enables viewers to analyze the data. Typically for monitoring dashboards, you use muted color maps, and then direct your viewer's attention with highlighted color to the area of interest or area of concern. So our core design principles apply to both types of dashboards. But when you look at this table, there are some differences in the usage, in the purpose. So when you design these dashboards, keep those in mind. So next, I want to show you a few examples, some including one snapshot dashboard and a couple of monitoring dashboards. So the first example I'm showing here is a snapshot dashboard. This is actually, I created this dashboard based on a study that my co-author and I did recently. So the study, what we did was using a machine learning algorithm to analyze the impacting factors on vaccination rate for US counties. So basically to identify which factors might have a positive influence on the vaccine, on that specific county's vaccination rate, and which county might have a negative, which factors may have a negative influence on the county's vaccination rate. So it's a snapshot dashboard because the data was based on the analysis we did at the specific time, which is end of September, with the data up to end of September. And we also use this dashboard to convey our key findings of our study. So one of the key findings is what are the factors that we identified that has an influence of to the vaccination rate. So these factors include race, age, income, and political affiliation. So, so that is showing here. So we convey that message using this chart. And another key findings from this analysis is that we know that these variables all have influence on the county's vaccination rate, but this influence varies a great deal across geography. So depending on which county you are in the US, there's a different combination of these factors. Those factors do not have the same effect in everywhere the same way. So because of that, we provide this selector so the user of this, a viewer of this dashboard, can choose the county they are interested and see for themselves the specifics for that county. For example, I can choose Orange County in California. Let me just type. I choose Orange County just because that's where I live. It's the easiest thing. So I can, as you can see that as I choose, select Orange County here, my map zoom to the Orange County. And if I turn on the legend, I can see that it has a relatively high vaccination rate. It's in this green color. And there's also a list showing me the composition of different factors in that county. So you can see the political affiliation factors measured as the percentage of people voted for Republicans in the last election. So it's about 45%, and it has a 3.7% a positive influence on the vaccination rate. So if I were going to a different county, say Merced County in California. So Merced County has a relatively lower vaccination rate compared to Orange County. But if you look at the percentage of Republican votes, it's very similar. It's even slightly lower than Orange County. It's about 45%. But the influence of that is lower compared to Orange County. So the point we want to make using this dashboard is that the influence varies. Same factor has a different influence across geography. So the number one story that we're trying to tell. The second message we want to tell is that typically by using machine learning, you run into a black box problem that you can see your prediction, but it's hard to explain exactly how much influence each factor has to your end prediction. But in this research, we applied artificial intelligence explainability. Without going to more detail, more relevant to the dashboard is we can actually show exactly how much that each factor has the impact. Is it positive impact or negative impact? And by exactly how much it has to the county's vaccination rate. So by using that, we also can convey that story. In addition, we use different like indicator or widgets to explain what the user sees. So what is this called? It's called shape value in AI term, and we explain that in the dashboard. So basically, the point I want to make here is by using the snapshot dashboard, we allow users, the viewers of this dashboard, to interactively select the county of their interest and then examine the data county by county on their own, and then to get our message crossed. Okay, so that's the snapshot dashboard. So the next one I want to show you is I actually created for this demo for this purposes, and also I did the talk yesterday as well. So I created this dashboard for presentation purposes. So this is the data I downloaded from EPA's website, the air quality data for California. And they provide that daily average for California. Because it's daily average, and this is a monitoring dashboard, people who check that probably are more interested either on a specific day or most recent, like today. I go there, it's like you check the weather. What's the weather going to be? What's the air quality index, right? So here I can click on a point. It shows me which site it is, which county it's in, what's the PM2.5 average on that specific day. I have data, right? And then I have embedded content, which I load external website, provide background information for the dashboard for the information I'm presenting here. I have a site, I have a chart showing the top 5 sites with the highest PM2.5. And here I have the list. Notice that the list has the white color and the red color. The reason I make it a different color is because I did some research and I found out that when you oh, sorry, my stupid Siri thinks I'm talking to her. Anyway, I did some research and I found out that when the PM2.5 is greater than 12, that's harmful. So I want to flag those sites with a PM value that could be potentially harmful. So that's why I make them red. So I can click on the site on the list, it will zoom my map to that particular site. If I unselect, and it will go back to the original extent. Okay. Also here, I have a selector. And this time, instead of allowing me to select a particular site, and then what I can do here is I can specify a range of PM 25. I can say, hey, show me the sites that has the high value. And this one probably is very good. We only have one site that has that high value. Maybe now let's do something with a low value. We have a lot of sites with low PM25 value, which is very good. We can also choose the middle range and get an idea. And you can see it updates the list, updates the chart, and filters my map as well. So that's an example of a monitoring website. Okay, so based on that, I also modify that a little bit. So this time, instead of downloading only the most recent day information, I have about 2 weeks of the air quality data. So what I want to use this dashboard for is to track how things change over time for different sites. So here I have a selector, allows me to select different sites. So if I know that this one particular one, Glendora, I want to select, I can see how the PM25 change from September 5 to September 17. That's the range of data that I have. And then here I can click another tab, which displays the air quality index. And another way I can filter the data is to choose select a specific date. So I have a date selector set up here. So I say if I choose September 6th, it will tell me on September 6th, what are the top sites, 5 sites with the highest PM25 as it compared to September 10th, for example. Again, this is just another example to show you how you can use monitoring dashboards, depending on what you want people, what's people's interest, what are your viewers' interests? Are they interested in the most recent information or how things change over time? Okay. So back to my presentation. So next, so we've seen how you just can get started quickly and just build your first dashboard. And we've seen some examples of different types of dashboards. Now I want to go into some detailed tips and tricks which can help you to build effective dashboards. So the first one is to configure your web map. As I mentioned earlier, most cases, a dashboard starts with a web map. A good dashboard starts with a good web map. Here are some things, configurations you can do to make your web map looks good for your dashboard. So first, include only the relevant data. Because with a dashboard, you have only limited screen space. You don't want to make your map look so crowded. You want to show only the information that's relevant. Perhaps you can apply a filter on your layer. So for the example I showed, one of the ones I showed was the most recent air quality data. So what I did was I use a filter. I select the date, which is the most recent day. I only want to show that. Okay, and you want to style your layers to make it meaningful, use meaningful symbology. And you want to configure your pop-ups to show only the relevant information. You can leverage Arcade to do your pop-up or symbology. For those of you who are not familiar with Arcade, it is a little bit more advanced, perhaps for this level of the class, but it is an expression language that built on top of JavaScript, allows you to manipulate your data on the fly. An example would be, say you have earthquakes, all the points on earthquakes. You can do on the fly, say, just show me the total counts of earthquakes in each country. Okay, so you can do a simple query and it will draw that on the fly. Use different base map. Try to play with the different base maps and see which one looks the best that for your dashboard, which one helps to highlight the data. Optionally, you can set bookmarks and then for specific interested areas, and you can set bookmarks, and then your dashboard users can go to the different bookmarks you define in your web map. And you can set visible range, so different features show at different scale. So this also would, if you show everything at a scale, that might make the map very crowded and it's hard to detect anything anyway. So you might want to have something show in detail only when you zoom in really close. So let me show you what I mean by this. Configure your web map. Let's go back to the Carpoly demo. We created our first dashboard like this, and this map to me honestly doesn't tell me much. So let's go and see what we can do to configure this web map and to make it look more appealing, tells a better story. So first, I might want to play with the base map and choose a different base map than the default. My personal favorite is the NOAA map, but there's so many to choose from. So you can play with it and choose the one that you like. So now I choose my base map. And I definitely want to style my layer. Since I'm showing the PM25 information, so I might want to style my layer based on that field. So I want to add my daily PM25 concentration. Perhaps I want to create sorry, the zoom thing always block my screen here. So I want to classify my data and use a classification, maybe quantile. And then since it's air pollution type of data, I want to use a red color. So now we have a symbology. You can see that the bigger the dots, the higher the concentration of PM25 is. So that, I think that looks good to me. And now if I click on the point, by default, it shows all the attributes available in my layer. And for the dashboard viewers, you might want to configure this pop-up to show only the relevant information. So let's go ahead and configure the pop-up. You can see that my pop-up has a title, which currently shows the site name. And I think it'll be more meaningful if I say site name as well as the county. Okay, now we can see site name and county. And instead of showing everything here, we might want to just show the relevant information. So what we can do is to add a text field and say, hey, this date, which we have one available, we have a date information available in our layer. On this date, PM 2.5 average is, and let's select that field again. Okay, so now let's show that if we could, now it shows on this day, our PM average is this. So we don't need to show that whole field list. I'm just going to delete that from here. So now we can see when anyone click on this point, the pop-up now shows the site name, which county it's in. On this specific day, the PM average is this. As you can see, our PM 2.5 average has many decimal places. That's how the data is like when I downloaded from the EPA, but that looks kind of confusing. So what we can do is to configure our field and choose that, say, hey, instead of 6 decimal places, maybe just have 1. Done. So all this configuration that I'm doing with my web map, when I use this web map in my dashboard later on, all of these settings are carried over, which is kind of nice. So now I'm happy with my web map. I can go ahead and save it. So let's go back to my dashboard. And refresh the dashboard. As you can see, we have an updated map, and now I can see that the pop-up is reconfigured and it looks much nicer than what I had previously. One more thing I forgot to show, but you can also create special bookmarks. Say, if I were going zoom in to Southern California, and this level of extent, I can say this bookmark is SoCal. Okay, and now I save the map. Okay, if I go to this, and then if I were refresh this map, so now you can see this bookmark option. So my user here can actually use that as a dashboard user, now can use that bookmark and then zoom to previously whatever you defined for that map. So that's how you can configure your web map, and that helps when you design your dashboard. So going back to my slides. So the next thing is I want to promote this element called selectors. Selectors is really key when you want to have interactivity for your dashboard. So by using selector, you give your viewer, the viewers of your dashboard, the ability to filter, to drill deeper of your data, like what we showed in the snapshot dashboard I created. You can select a state and you can select the specific county. So typically users like to have that kind of activity so they can explore the data themselves. And you can apply, you configure and apply multiple filters to drill down your data. For example, this this air quality demo, one of them I showed, I have a date selector as well as a category selector. And we also saw that for the other air quality demo dashboard, I have a numeric selector, which allows you to specify a range of values so that it will filter our map. So let's see how we can create a selector, add a selector to our dashboard. So here I have this, and I want to be able to filter the PM25 based on a range of values I specify. So to add a selector, one tip to remember in ArcGIS Dashboards is that you need to have either a header or a side panel, and then you can add a selector to that. So first we can choose I think we'll just add a header. We can have a header, and then we can use that to give a name, title. So title, we can say California air quality data. Okay, we can change the background color. These are different styling options you can play with, and we can add an icon. So maybe this. So we can add an icon to our header. Say we're happy with this. Okay, done. So now we have a header, and now from this header we can add a number selector. So we can add, you can see that we have a date selector, a number selector, or category selector. So in my case, I'm going to add a number selector. And this one is specify PM25 range. Okay, so we're going to use a slider, and then it's going to be a range, and we can have predefined value. Say if it's a percentage, you can set it to be 0 to 100%. Or in my case, I want to use a statistic from an existing layer. So we want to read from our layer based on the daily mean to a PM25 concentration. So we can see that it reads my field and knows that the range is from 2.8 to 64.8. Okay, so now we have our selector, and it's important always, don't forget to show reset with the selector. We always want to be able to also basically clear our selection. So we have our selector, and we want to define the action, which is the interactivity here. So we want to be able to filter, once you select a range, want to be able to filter our layer and filter our list and filter the chart. Okay, so say done. So let's play with it. So now we can say, hey, these are the sites with high values, and these are the sites with low values, etc. And I can reset, basically clear that selection. That's how to make a quick number selector. So the next thing is a trick is to use advanced formatting using Arcade. And this is a relatively new feature in dashboards. I'm not sure how many of you have used dashboard before. The new one is recently, I think this year it becomes a final release. It has been beta since the middle of last year, I believe. So the new dashboard, one of my favorite enhancements in the new dashboards is that now you can use Arcade for advanced formatting. You can use Arcade to select your data. You can use Arcade to bring multiple data sources into one chart, for example. Again, Arcade is a flexible expression language. It's built on top of JavaScript, has a very similar syntax, and then it allows you to work with data on the fly. I gave you an example. Say you have COVID cases. Typically, the government reports say, hey, Orange County, this many today, okay? But if you were comparing Orange County with Los Angeles County, the total number doesn't make a lot of sense because Los Angeles County has 10 million population, Orange County has 3.5 million. So you cannot just compare just the raw number. It will make more sense if you say, what's the case per 100,000 in population? So instead of symbolize based on the case counts, you can give an Arcade expression, say, hey, I want to symbolize based on the case number divided by 100,000. So you can do that on the fly. In the old days, you would have to create a new field, calculate that value into that new field. And now you can just create those queries on the fly and symbolize your map based on that. So let's see an example of using Arcade to format our list. So this dashboard I have here, I have the list showing all the sites available that has the data available. They are all showing in one color with the information. As I mentioned earlier, we know that when it exceeds 12, the threshold, it could be harmful. So maybe I want to flag concerns to those about those sites. So what I can do is when I configure this list, and I can use enable advanced formatting. So let me copy and paste. I don't trust my typing skills here, so I will explain it. So what I did here, I defined a new variable called color, and I say if in my data, if the daily mean PM2.5 concentration is greater than 12, return red. So this is the hex number for the color red. And here I can say the text color, use my color variable instead. Okay, so now let's close this. And then you can see immediately that is applied to my list. So you can see that now whenever there's PM2.5 average greater than 12, these list items are flagged in red. So this would make it more easier for our viewers to pay attention to those particular sites. Okay. Another trick for charts, for example, what I can do here is I can say configure my chart. Say I want to have this, the default uses the red color, yellow color. I wanted to match my map. So I may want to change that to red. I can change that color to red. And I think it's also more meaningful for me to have a title for my chart. So let's go to general, and then let's give a title. Say, hey, top 5 sites with highest PM2.5, and I can format this, make it bold, make it bigger. And then here, if I click on source, this is actually HTML code here. So what I can do is, let me copy and paste. I can write some HTML styling. I can put in here. If I just go here, now you can see I can have my title showing in tomato color. So again, these are the little tricks that you can do to format different elements on your dashboard. Now I think our dashboard starts to look better, more like an end product. Okay, going back to my slide. So indicators like a card to use on your map. It can use to show a feature like any numeric information from your feature, or it can show a summary of statistics. You can optionally you can use conditional formatting, meaning that you can compare the value from your indicator to a reference value. Say you're tracking COVID cases, and you want to compare if the 7-day average compared to last 7 days, is it going up or is it going down? You can include icons in your indicator. Say if it's going up, you say when it's going up, use the up arrow icon. When it's going down, use the down arrow icon. And say this recycling depots, it shows the recycling icon. You can change the color based on in response to a change of event, etc. So let's see how we can add indicator to the dashboard we were making. So here, so now we see that, hey, I said I flagged this out, the sites that has the value greater than PM25 value greater than 12. So perhaps I want to have a card showing, hey, currently how many sites are exceeding that value. So let's add indicator. I want to read from the same layer. So we are we're doing a statistic, actually a feature, and then we want to select a field. Actually, we want to show statistics. We want to show a count, and then we want to filter. We want to filter this and is PM2.5 is greater than 12. So now it shows that value. So we want to show that value, say, hey, this many sites are greater than, pay attention, this many sites have exceeded the threshold. And every time I update my data, it will change this on the fly. So let's add some context to this. So say this sites exceed threshold. Okay, now we don't want to display it here, and we might want, I mean, these are the things you might want to do. Say, hey, what color should I use? Text color maybe red, and background color maybe yellow, and so on and so on. I mean, it's ugly. You get an idea. Okay, so I can also, if I find out where that icon thing is, there's a way that I can add an icon. Don't want to have the 1 second. Oh, icon here. Okay, so maybe a warning icon. So you get an idea. So I can have that indicator that looks really bad. This we don't want it so big. So what I will do is drag this maybe on top of this, dock on top of this, and then make it smaller. So now we can see, hey, it gave me a number, how many of them are exceeding the threshold. And then I can select, I can further define interactivity. Say, when I click on this, maybe you can zoom to that map. So we can configure that, say action, and say, hey, add filter. No, actually add zoom. Zoom to that. And then let's say, see here. So now if I select this one, it will zoom to that site. And if I unselect, it will go back to the original extent. Okay. I went through rather quickly, but the idea, hopefully you get an idea that these are the things, various things that you can do to design an effective dashboard. So there's some layout considerations. So for example, you can stack your elements. The example I showed, that it shows the time series of PM2.5 and air quality index. Instead of having them side by side, which takes a lot of screen space, I can stack them together, create this tabbed experience. You can always match the background color with your company's style. Say you're designing something for Kapoly, you might want to use this Kapoly green color, makes it more fit in for your organization. If your viewers need to open the dashboard on a mobile device, it's probably the best for you to create a different dashboard, another dashboard that is looks better in the mobile screen size. So what you can do is you can even build one web application that loads 2 dashboards, one for desktop, one for mobile, and then dynamically when the user loads, it will load the appropriate one. It detects if it's a mobile device, it will load this, the mobile one. If it's a desktop one, it will load the desktop one. So in summary, this a great dashboard. These are the core principles. I'm not going to repeat it. Basically, depending on if it's a snapshot dashboard or monitoring dashboard, keep these principles in mind to make them more effective. So it's quite easy to get started. So I encourage everyone to get started and build your dashboard. It's great fun to play with them. So I'm ready for any questions. Hopefully I'm not taking too long.
Thank you, Jian. That was fantastic. You made it very seamless. I think creating all these dashboards in 10 minutes of your time is probably going to take hours for me. But I think I just wanted to thank Jian for her very wonderful presentation, sharing with us all those very great resources.